meeting to order. First of all, we're going to do roll call. I
Okay,
know, Julie, excuse absent, we have Bethany who will help us to do roll call, so. Ready?
yes, sorry about that. So I'm just gonna call names, Mehdi Hanamlu. Eric Black. Eric Black online. Robert Broomfield. Ying Chen. Farhan Chabri,
Here.
John Davy,
Present.
Liz Kalila, present. Michael Eichholz is present. Scott Gilbert.
Yes, hello.
Woo. Michael Hyland,
Present.
okay. Elaine will be joining us later, I believe. Arash Kamai. He's on it, great. Sunhee Lee. Here. Yutang is here.
Yeah.
Patrick McGrath is here. Stacy McKinney,
Present.
Khalid Maxim. Grant Miller,
Here.
Amanda Pancrazio,
Here.
Mike Phillips.
Here.
Luis, from Kumar. Shannon McCrocklin for Jeffrey Pudsky.
Here. Hi.
Hi. Myself, I am here. Matt Brzezowski.
Here.
Lorelei Ritchie, are you on?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Syed Samadi. Diana Sarko, or Amber Pond, excuse me, for Diana Sarko. Joe Shremick is on sabbatical. Julie Tate, are you with us today?
I am here.
Great. Sylvia Thomas. Okay. Jennifer Walker.
Here.
Okay. Li Ching Wang.
Here.
Terry Watson. Here. Oh, yes, you're there.
Next up.
Rachel Whaley.
Here.
I believe that is all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bethany. The next one on our agenda, approval of the minutes. Do you have any correction? For the minutes, on February 14th, any correction, discrepancy, comments? Okay, if there's no correction, we would like to have someone to move it. Okay, Senator Elizabeth Stefano, move it. Anyone second?
I'll second.
Mike second. So we're going to vote by hands. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay.
So for online, again, raise your hand electronically. All approved. I send here.
Oh man, it's been a while since I've done Zoom. I'm like, where am I going?
Did you got it, or do you need some help?
I think, oh, I see it. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. All right. All right, you may put your hands down. And you can tell your dog that as well. No opinions from dogs. And then any opposed? And any abstentions? Right,
All right.
motion passed.
Thank you very much for approving the minutes. Okay.
I have
How many?
Dr. Farhan Whaley said no, I believe.
Oh, was there any
No.
opposed?
No, I was trying to mess with the system. Sorry. It took me a while
No
to
worries.
get to. Sorry about that.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move to the next issue on the agenda, report, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. As you know, our February issue of Faculty Senator Updates, FIY newsletter went out to all faculty members at the end of February. In addition, I have several business matters to report to you briefly. First, on February 15th, I attended the FACSS Council meeting chaired by SIU System Vice President Dr. Gorish Gottschalk. FACSS, I didn't know, stands for Faculty Affairs Council of SIU System. We discussed an online suggestion box for faculty members across the system to send. That means we ask faculty members of all the campus send any faculty related issues to the suggestion box. We are also in the middle of developing a award proposal on SIU system faculty members collaboration. Second, we were very busy with the campus interviews of the 5 provost candidates on February 21st through February 27th. On those days, I attended 10:15 a.m. sessions with other constituencies heads to ask each candidate's question. We also hosted the known open forums by inviting the campus constituencies head to ask the candidates questions. I would like to thank Senator co-chairs Khalid Maxim and Sung-Hee Lee for representing the faculty senator to ask those 5 candidates questions as known. Everything was recorded and accessible to the public. Also at 3 p.m. on those days, that means on February 21st through February 27th, the Faculty Senator, Graduate Council, and the Faculty Association co-hosted the 3 p.m. sessions with Q&A format. Again, it was recorded and accessible to the public. I would like to thank Graduate Council Chair Greg Gingrich, Philbrook, and the Faculty Association President Jeffrey Hansky for reading the questions to each candidate. Number 3 or third, the Provost Search Committee and the Whitkeeper Search Forum met again on February 28th. We discussed the strengths and other areas of those 5 candidates. Number 4, on February 28th, I attended the campus climate survey town hall meeting with other constituencies heads. It was hosted by the Chancellor and Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism, that is Dr. Paul Fraser. It was recorded and accessible to the public. Number 6, on March 9th, I had a regular monthly meeting with Chancellor Nam and the interim co-provost Morgan by MS team. We discussed the following issue, that is the daily Egyptian article on decent education money, operating tables, retention of faculty member and retention of students, and also SIU System Faculty Collaboration Award proposal and other matters. And finally, on March 17th, I attended the semester's meeting by Council of Illinois University Senator. We discussed 2 main issues, that means shared governance on campuses and flexibility of faculty teaching modality. And yesterday I attended the EOC, Emergency Operating Center's training session on the actual shooting exercise, which will be held on April 20th. Any question, comments? Okay, if there's no more question or comments, we're going to move to the next Item on the agenda, Q&A session with Chancellor and interim co-provost. So Chancellor Nan, are you there? Maybe you can give us a brief update, then we have some question or some colleagues or senator may have questions for you.
I am. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I really want to know whose dog that is. Whoever, I think they really want to join the meeting. You ought to give them a little bit of camera time, and I think somebody was trying to jump on
I think that was mine. I'm
them.
sorry. buddy.
You
Is
said,
that a solution?
yeah, those dogs love to be on Zoom here, so that's good. That's good. I thought you guys were jumping on me when I jumped on. Somebody said, "Hey, stop!" You know. I thought, uh-oh, that's not a good sign. Well, good to see everybody back. Hope you had a good spring break and got a chance to take a deep breath, and hope you're ready for the next. I guess it's close to seven weeks. You believe that? It's going really fast. So this spring semester is moving right along. Let me thank Dr. Lee and the search committee. We found our provost and Dr. Cheryl Tucker. Really excited about Cheryl joining us. She won't be here until the summer, but you know, she will be. Obviously, I'll be talking to her a lot about just some things that are probably things that need to be on the radar. So I know we had a lot of people involved in that search, and we had a search that we had to extend. So I know it cut into a little bit of the spring semester, but we were all optimistic, hoping that we could find that provost, and we have. And so really excited about that. Well, one of the things that I have for her as advice was, you know, being from the outside, I know it helped me in the first year or so, but it was to really listen and learn to everybody that's been here a lot longer than we have. And that's most of you on this call. And especially with our faculty, my biggest charge to her was get to know our faculty. You know, get to know who they are, what kind of needs that they have, what issues they're trying to address, what support that they need. And then in most cases, support the deans as they try and support our faculty. And so I think we have that person who is willing to serve and listen and learn from everyone that's here. And that's important as we hire people here at the university, that they have that ability to do that. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Morris and Dr. Morgan, and you know, they were able to fill in during a very critical kickoff to the semester. They jumped right in and been doing a really, really good job in moving us forward in a lot of key areas that we're focused on. So I want to thank them publicly. But overall, that's a big piece for us going forward. One of the things that you'll hear about in the next couple of months, and it's because we've got some new people, we have the strategic plan. That's the overarching Imagine SIUC in 2030 plan. That's 30,000 feet. When we put a lot of the folks in place, we'll also have our sub plans, which I call more operational plans. So for example, when Cheryl's able to get her feet on the ground and listen and learn, she'll establish what we call our academic plan. And that academic plan is more operational. You know, how do we hire? What kind of support is provided? What kind of initiatives are we focused on in the academic affairs area? What kind of support is provided in the provost office? So it becomes more of a supportive office than a yes or no office, you know, more of an office that's there to support. So same thing with our strategic enrollment management plan. Wendell Williams has the structure with that particular plan. Our technology plan, a lot of questions about how we allocate the technology fee. What's the refurbish of laptop plan? You know, what type of technology are we moving towards, whether it's Banner or those kinds of things. So we'll have a little more business process, operational technology plan. Campus master plans, another plan that will be focused on. And each of those plans, again, they connect to the overall strategic plan, but they are more operational, more business process, more that anybody could pick up at any given time and go, oh, okay, that's what we do in those particular areas. So that's going to be pretty important. Another quick update for enrollment. We talked about this earlier. this morning at our cabinet meeting. It looks very promising. And as you know, we're always cautiously optimistic. It's still early, several weeks before the fall gets here, but a lot of work is being done. The applications increase is up. Our applications are up, our admits are up, and we're doing something a little different this year. We had a really good update from Doug and Rachel Wendell, and that group was there today. And, we talked about reaching out to these students who, have showed interest in SIU, but really working with them to find out if they're really coming. So a lot of work in yield is happening to make sure those students, if they are coming, we want to know about that a little sooner rather than later. And then we want to know what types of things that we need to do to make sure for those that are undecided, they get the information they need so they can make a decision. So we're looking really good in the undergraduate world, our graduate enrollment as well. Applications are up, the admits are up. There's some things that Costas Satsoulis is doing there to kind of move that process along. So it's a little more efficient and faster to get students some decisions so they know and they can make up their mind. So he's doing a really good job in jumping in there. A lot of what we put in place maybe a year or 2 years ago, it's starting to pay off. Our transfer enrollment as well is looking up right now. So again, very early. Nothing to get too happy about because we still have to yield those students down the stretch, but a lot of effort that's being put into that from a lot of people. Quick legislative update, and I really want to make sure you're in the loop on these things. As you know, this is the legislative session. I went and attended our hearing last week down in Springfield. So we were down at the Capitol tap dancing for money and pleading our case. And, we had our tin cups out. And I tell you what, the state reps, we had 2 on this particular higher ed committee that represent our area. Representative Severin, Dave Severin, and Representative Paul Jacobs were both there. They were very complimentary. The work that's happening at SIU Carbondale and really supportive of the university. All of the state reps that we got questions from, I thought were really good questions. Again, they were all very supportive, and that helps to have that happen. I've been in some other states where it's not always that way, and it's kind of like a firing squad. So, it is good to have some support from those leaders that are going to be deciding essentially what's next for higher education. As you know, the governor came out a couple of weeks ago and announced an increase to higher education for us. That means if that is approved with the House and the Senate, that we would go up to about $5.5 million in an allocation to Carbondale. That is very good given where we are now at 101 million. So if you add 5.5 of that, gives us the ability to do some things that we've been wanting to do. So that's a good sign, but again, that has to all be worked out. I have the Senate hearings coming up the first week of April. So we'll go back and we'll talk more extensively about what's going on there. I am going to try to share my screen, and sure enough, who knows if this is going to work at all. But there's a document that I really wanted to show you. Let me do something here. That's not it. Yeah, what I'll do probably before this ends is, Dr. Lee, I will send you over what I consider to be a cheat sheet. And again, if I can find it while some questions are coming in, I will do that. But this cheat sheet is really directed at some of the questions that came in from the state reps, and it gives you a really good download about a number of different areas that we're working with now. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Let me see if this comes up here. Just a second. Doing just enough to be dangerous here. There, okay. I think this is gonna work. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yep.
That, okay, good. There it is. There it is. So this is the cheat sheet that I use when we are sitting on the microphone, but I thought it would be very, if you're interested, I know you've got things to do, but if you're interested in a lot of pieces of the university and some of the questions that may come in that state reps want to know about, this is, I mean, it's no secret. It's information. If you want a copy of this, I can send this over to you. Again, it's a one-pager, and it really goes through some critical parts of questions. You get everything from enrollment. You get a sense of where we are with where our students are coming from, how many are online, how many are face-to-face, how many students by breakdown in terms of their race and ethnicity, our tuition breakdown. Again, these are questions they want to know about. 6-year grad rates, retention rates from fall to spring, fall to fall. Some of the things that get a little more questions are right here in the MAP category. They're always wanting to know how many students here at the university are receiving MAP grants in addition to AIM High funding. So that's a very popular one. As you can see, the number of students that we serve and then what that amounts to in terms of funding. Always questions about our veteran students, the amount of waivers that we give for our National Guard and our vets. You can see about how much money and tuition and fees that we waive to help our veterans that are here, our National Guard students that are here. So it just gives you a good sense. Our RISE Act deals with our DACA dollars, the amount of money we spend in MAP to help those students who are part of the RISE Act. Direct institutional help on balances really speaks to the efforts in the fall and spring to pay down balances of students. So you get a sense of what that amounted to in fiscal year 2022 and then what it looked like in fiscal year 2023. If you look at, you want to know how many students receive the AIM High, that gives you a good breakdown of those students. So again, this is what I think is a pretty comprehensive cheat sheet. If it's something that, again, you're interested or you want to see, we'll be glad, Dr. Lee, I'll send it to you, and people are more than welcome to have it. There's some areas that we'll add to it depending on the questions that we get ahead of time from the state rep or the senator. And so we'll add things to this piece. I think is pretty helpful. Last piece is the budget fiscal year 2024. As you guys know, we're on our last year for the big payback. That's the 7-year financial sustainability plan. That payback, again, we've covered fiscal year 2023, so we've got 1 year left. That was a 7-year deal. For us, again, with a $5.5 million increase, if that comes to life, if that actually happens, in addition to some other efficiencies that we're working on across campus, we always try and look at what would we do with any money that would be available. I've said this a couple of times that we would obviously look to doing an increase for employees first across the board, just to try and make those adjustments as we go forward. That we see that as being our highest priority, just because of so many years without increases to salaries and those kinds of things. So to keep pace, even though we're behind, we would try and catch up. And that's one of the questions actually that the state reps inquired about. And we said that's what we would do for our particular campus. But that's something that comes up a lot. So at any rate, a lot of work going into the budget. We'll have some other discussions in the months to come there. And you heard Dr. Lee mention the active shooter drill. I want to stress that again, so no one is caught off guard or shocked or surprised. You'll continue. Hopefully you're getting information about the active shooter drill of the date. I know you just got an update there from Dr. Lee. We're going to try and do that all the way up until the day of the event, so people are not caught off guard, but it will simulate like a real active shooter drill scenario. So again, I don't want to scare you or anything like that, but it will probably feel like there's a lot of things happening on that day, and just want you to be mindful that it is a drill. We are contacting media to make sure they know that as well. So, you know, they don't show up here thinking that something actually happened. So just something we need to do. We've never had an active shooter drill, I think is what we found out this morning. So I think it's a very good time to have one. We've had this plan for a while, but to get all those entities together, it takes a little bit of time. So on that note, Dr. Lee, I'll stop. Those are just a few quick updates and be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Nan, for your update and also the data. We have time for a few questions. Please raise the hands here, either physically, Mike, send it Mike Echoes.
Hi, Chancellor Lane. How are you today?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, I have a question or comment about your cheat sheet, I guess. First of all, a number of things on that are questions that alumni often ask me when I'm out doing various things and they know I teach here. So I guess my first question is it okay if we share that information with the general public?
Yes, sir, it is. That it's no secret in there. It's a pretty raw sheet. So feel free. And I think Matt Bauman, he found I don't know if Mark, if you caught it. He found some $sign error on that. I don't know if it's on that sheet, but it was one error on that sheet. So, but yeah, feel free to share. You just do your once over on it first. If you see something, let us know.
And then my second comment is, and maybe you already do this, do you share something like this in the alumni magazine or something just, you know, broadcast to our alumni? Because I think a lot of them would be very interested in a lot of the information you see in that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we're trying to figure out now is, you know, what's probably the most important item on that sheet. There are probably about 5 or 6 that, you know, you wouldn't have to do a lot of explaining. It would be kind of self-explanatory. So yeah, anything like that with our alums. We even have donors that are asking some of those questions too with items that are on that sheet. So that's why I wanted to throw it out here and make it as transparent as we need to. But yeah, anything for our alums, this is stuff that I usually give, you know, like I'm doing now when I meet with those alumni association groups or the takeover events that we have. But I think that all captures it in one very simple document.
Thank you very much, Senator McEchoes, for your questions. Thank you for your response, Chancellor Nan. Any other question on the screen or by Zoom or physically here? Patrick, yeah.
I was just wondering, where has information about the active shooter drill been disseminated? Because I haven't seen it, and it could be my own negligence in not reading certain university communication email, but I'm just curious where that's appeared.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, Patrick. It should be in our either an SIU Today, should be posted out a few places. Dr. Morris, and most importantly, we talked about this today, your dean should be sending it out as well. So Dr. Morris, help me with that to make sure our deans are getting that out.
We'll get that out for sure, yes.
Yeah, because I know it's been in a couple of different places, but Patrick, what I found out is if I don't look at the chancellor email, you know, even I don't see it. So you know, if you haven't seen it, it's not because you haven't been looking. It's probably because we didn't hit the right mark there. So, Dr. Marsh, you know where else we've been putting that?
Jim Potter and his group will be putting postings on all the campus buildings this week.
Yeah. That was a recommendation from, I think, one of our faculty senators is put it on the old-fashioned way, right? Put it on the building on a sheet, and we actually have that. So we took the advice. I can't remember who gave us that advice.
Jeff Punske.
Oh, Jeff. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Jeff said put it on on the door or something like that. So we do have a piece, as Dr. Morris mentioned, should be going up here any minute. But electronically, it should be out there as well. But I'll make sure, Mark, if you can help me out with Jim, we'll make sure it gets out again. We're going to be sending it out every week.
Any other questions? Well, Dr. Morris, do you have anything to update?
Just real quick and piggybacking off of some of the things the chancellor had mentioned, we're going to be continuing the work with respect to moving the provost office more from being process-based to get that ready for when incoming Provost Tucker arrives. So there's still work to do. We're not done yet. A lot of good stuff happening with that. And also wanted to publicly say it's always an honor and a privilege to serve this institution, my alma mater, and always happy to do that in whatever capacity I'm called to duty. And it was a pleasure working with the chancellor and the cabinet and seeing that 30,000-foot view on the close-up right in the front seat. So I appreciate that. The other thing that we're doing is we're going to have that academic standing policy coming out soon. We're reviewing that this week, and with the hopes of having it to the faculty senate within the next week or two for review, input, and as well as the USG and our other constituency groups. So look for that coming out.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other question, either for Chancellor Nan or Dr. Morris? Well, if there's no question for them, and I would like to take a moment to thank you, Chancellor Nan and Dr. Morris, for being here with us. I look forward to your cheat sheet or data sheet. Whenever you finalize, send to us. We're going to share it with the faculty senator. Thank you so much, Chancellor Nan and Dr. Morris.
Thank you, and I'll have Matt send that to you, Dr. Lee. You want to? Is it okay if you disperse that to the group?
Sure.
Okay, thank you, guys. Okay,
we're going to move to we're going to move to the report. Executive committee report, we skip that for election committee and Bethany.
Yes. Okay, so our general elections are coming up very quickly, and my elections committee, what we do during general election is we get a list of all professors and their, well, actually all faculty and their FTE, and then we use that FTE to do an allocation of seats, since the composition of the university changes every year, every semester. We try to make sure that the Senate representation changes as well. So that I've done that allocation, and just as a sort of heads up for people in terms of us sending out requests for nominees. These are what we will be needing. So one new person from med school, one from the School of Education, 2 from CLA, 2 from CHHS, 1 from CECTM, 1 from CBA, 1 from CAM, 3 from CALPS, and then we'll have 5 openings in the NTT as well. So I just have to get approval from my committee. Once we get that, we'll go ahead and send out the notifications for nominations for Senate seats. So be on the look for that. And if you have any questions about allocation, please let me know.
Thank you. Any questions for Bethany? Election committee?
Yeah, I have a real quick one, and you may have said it at the beginning of your list. You have one for School of Ed, correct?
I have one, yes, for School of Ed.
Okay, perfect. I just missed that earlier. Thank you.
Fair enough, of course.
Thank you. Any other question for the election committee?
Bethany, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
This is Farhan here. So do you have one coming up for engineering? Because I think this is my last term.
Yes.
Or last year in my term.
Correct, yes.
Okay, just making sure. Thank you.
We know exactly who's leaving, so we're good then.
I'm looking for my replacement.
Yes, we'll make sure that you're replaced, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Farhan. Thank you, Bethany. Now, next one, faculty status and welfare committee, we have Scott here. I know Scott will be teaching this, and Scott Arash.
Yes, I think we are both here. And so just a brief bit that Dr. Lee had mentioned the Faculty Collaboration Award across the SIU system. And we'd, I think, heard of it last time round, just mentioning that it was encouraging to see then version 2 of that award document. And thanks to Dr. Lee and others that had worked on it, for an award across collaborative endeavors in teaching, scholarship, creative activities, service, anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So anyway, it sounds to me like faculty and status and welfare on our campus and others in the SIU system could be nicely improved by this effort. So thanks once again to Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Arash. Anything to add?
I have no more points to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question for faculty status welfare committee? Okay, if not, we're going to move to undergraduate education policy committee. I would like first take a moment to thank previous Senator Amy Breaux, who made significant contribution to the faculty senator. And now we have an interim chair, Jennifer Walker. I think Jennifer Walker, you are here.
Yes, yes.
So we have two resolutions here and three resolutions here. Would you like to present to the faculty senator?
Sure. So the resolution for the RME for a minor in the behavior analysis and therapy. This will provide an undergraduate pathway to be a board certified assistant behavior analyst. There was some cost associated with marketing, but it's an online program. It's currently offered through the BS in the behavior analysis therapy, and it is an additional 21 credit hours. So we recommended approval of the RME of the minor in behavior analysis and therapy. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay, so you can present next one. We can both of them together.
Okay, all right. And the second one was the resolution for the RME to eliminate the specialization in turf management in the BS in horticulture and to add a specialization in sustainable horticulture systems in the BS in horticulture. That's a mouthful. The specialization in turf management was not a popular choice, so Dr. Henry is going to teach out the remaining students. The new specialization has high interest and expected to grow. So the students who study sustainable horticulture will be in high demand as they are equipped to deal with issues that surround food insecurity and will also be able to use sustainable practices to manage resources effectively and deal with the changes of climate change. It was recommended to eliminate the specialization in turf management and to add the specialization in sustainable horticulture systems. Any questions on that?
Any questions? So if there's no question, we're going to vote the first two resolutions together. So we need anyone would like, Jennifer, would you like to move it?
Sure.
Move both of them together, yeah.
Okay. Honestly, this is new. I'm new to this, so I honestly don't know how to do that. So
So you move both, right?
yes.
Okay, anyone second?
Second.
Okay, Sherry second. So we're going to vote the first two resolutions. Just raise your hands physically in the room, electronically by Zoom. Prove it, yeah. If you.
All right, lower your hands.
So how many years? Okay, good. So nay, anyone nay?
Opposed?
No one opposed.
Any abstentions?
Abstention, no. Any,
All right, thank you.
thank you. I think the first two resolution approved. Thank you. The third one, artificial intelligence committee's resolution. So maybe Jennifer, would you like to explain? Then maybe we'll have a discussion.
Sure. This was the AI committee resolution. This one was a little controversial. It's an exciting potential. It's a rapidly increasing interest. In the UEPC, we had a great discussion, but we also talked about how it possibly eliminates the writing capabilities of students, or we also looked at it as a new way to teach, a new tool. But there is a need for caution. So our resolution was to develop a collaborative committee, which maybe included representatives from disability services, CTE, and a variety of academic areas across campus. The committee should consider the exciting potential of AI, but there's also concerns for difficulties inherent in monitoring the use of AI and how to address dishonesty. So we had to look at the plagiarism policy under the Student Code of Conduct. The committee shall also create suggestive guidelines for the use of AI within academia. And we also need to look how to be productive and figure out how to work this in an ethical manner.
Okay, we're open to discussion. Okay, Senator Patrick, my comment.
Yes, thank you. I know the UEPC does a lot of work throughout the semester. I know you have many, many RMEs, and I think you do a lot of really great work. I don't support this resolution, and I have a few reasons for that. One of them being the fact that I think that plagiarism is more than just an acknowledgement of attribution. So for example, if a student were to turn in an essay and say, well, here's this essay for you, and yet it was written with OpenAI, and I'm acknowledging that it was written with OpenAI, and imagine that that was somehow sufficient, that that wasn't still plagiarism. That I really have a problem with, and it's not necessarily the resolution. It's more the university's plagiarism policy.
May I respond? So I was part of the discussion, and I just want to make sure it's clear that the resolution is precisely to develop a committee to talk about that. We were very concerned about that sort of thing. We were concerned about defining plagiarism because this doesn't fit exactly in our gold standards of plagiarism either. There's huge problems with just saying here, someone wrote this for me, isn't that awesome? And we have some very big concerns about the use of this, but there are a lot of faculty who are finding it a very valuable tool in other ways. And so we felt that we were not in a position to make rules about it. And we want a committee with people like you who are on it to help us create guidelines for this.
Thank you for your response. Thank you for your question. Any other questions? Yes, Patrick.
I'm sorry, did I take anybody's comment?
Any?
I guess would it be possible then to amend the resolution to be a little bit because so for example, I deal with the university plagiarism policy not on a hugely regular basis, but fairly regularly. And I mentioned this in the Faculty Senate Executive Committee meeting that I think the university policy in the Student Conduct Code is very confusing for faculty members. And so would it be possible to also have this as a committee, not just simply on AI and academic integrity, but on the university's plagiarism policy and also AI and academic integrity? Does that make sense? I'm wondering if we could enlarge the scope slightly. And this is also partly in response to an observation of Eugene's at the executive committee meeting, which was about the Student Conduct Code. Where does the Student Conduct Code come from? Yeah, I don't know if our faculty consulted when the Student Conduct Code is made. So I don't mean that to explode that suggestion to explode this resolution, but I guess I'm seeing, based on what you said, Liz, I see this much more welcome, this resolution as a welcome, as a welcome contribution to an ongoing discussion, a larger discussion about plagiarism, the university's plagiarism policy.
Okay, Mike first, then, Liz.
I would just like to add that I don't see how you can have this discussion without incorporating the university's plagiarism policy in that. I mean, it just, to me, it wouldn't make any sense to look at it separately. They're two joint. So I guess I would just second what Patrick's saying, that I don't know if this necessarily needs to be a change to the resolution to do that, but just to ensure that, you know, the plagiarism policy is part of that discussion.
Okay, Liz, then Liz first, then next one, the Li Chang.
Plagiarism is one of the bottom line problems, right? So I totally agree with you. Historically, I always think everything was 10 years ago, but somewhere between 5 and 25 years ago, I was on the plagiarism gold standard committee where we spent an entire year coming up with about a 250-page plagiarism document, and unreadable to anybody, truly, just very much too long. And but what I'm thinking is that took a long time and was very complicated, and we cannot do this without what you're saying. And plagiarism is the bottom line problem here. But I would also like to just encourage that this is happening today. And we need something right away, and then maybe we can come up with a committee that can come up with something quick and something long-term. But I absolutely agree with you. I think plagiarism has to be a critical concept.
Thank you. Li Chang.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just want to add to the discussion about, this AI, especially in the context of a ChatGPT. I serve as a senior editor for a journal, Chemical Physics Impact, that was run by Elsevier. They just came up like 2 days ago. They came to a notice to all the editors about how, even though we are in science major, we generate all the data. It could be authors like using ChatGPT to generate all the summary based on the data. And then that could be kind of somehow change, make a different, all the conclusions too strong or everything. So I was trying to say the bottom line is it's a really evolving aspect. And we certainly need to pay attention to what's going on. I think the case will be more severe as Patrick and all the non-science major social science, all those type of things. But also faculty advisory committee to IDHE is discussing the issue as well. Although I don't know what the resolution would be, but it's certainly a very challenging issue for all of us to see how, because it's generated individually. It's not based on, it's cut paste. However, it does have this kind of a component in there. For the journal, is as of now, it's recommended if you use ChatGPT, you have to you do not cite, but you have to claim you use the ChatGPT to generate certain text. That's what we have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. There's one comment from Senator Sylvia Smith. Would you like to read it? Because I know the people in the room cannot open that. So Senator Smith, would you like to read what you wrote? Sylvia Smith. Okay, maybe I read it for you. Okay, I've heard from more faculty that have said AI is a major concern when trying to teach law students how to pass the bar exam or many types of certification. So that's a comment from Silver. Any other comments, question? I know Patrick, you want to amend?
That's very quick. I actually, I appreciate your comment, Lee Chang, and I also, looking at the resolution, again, I think that it also, it's useful to remember that AI is not just a writing issue. It is a writing. I mean, it certainly has a great impact on writing, but it can also have an impact on data manipulation and on certain mathematical and scientific processes that I don't really understand all that well. So that I think is a useful contribution that this resolution is making. And my only other question would be, in terms of the 1, 2, 3 at the bottom of the resolution, the committee should be comprised of, do you see those as recommendations? Do you see those as, so for example, my only concern would be, let's say the committee convenes and the committee decides, well, you know, we may not want to ask this group to be a part of the committee for whatever reason that the committee decides. I'm a little uncomfortable with the notion that we're forming this committee and then telling this committee and the members must be from. Is that something that the committee itself would be able to decide? So do you feel that these are just simply particularly number 1 here, these are advisory as opposed to a prescriptive recommendation?
Okay,
That makes sense.
thank you. Any comments, response? Okay, Senator Sherry.
I also just want to point out that other institutions are grappling with this, so it's not like we're necessarily creating the wheel. And I'm just looking at UIUC because that's my alma mater, and they already have information available to faculty in terms of dealing, talking to students about this. I mean, I feel like this is a beginning. And it's probably going to be an evolving process. We haven't even talked about the arts, in generating art and, creative, I know the creative writing program is really getting into this and it's very exciting. So I'm sort of in favor of that resolution to get us started, and I understand your reservations and but I just feel like we can move forward with it. We don't have to start from, the ground up.
Thank you, Sherry. Liz?
I just want to say the couple specific groups that are mentioned in there are there because somebody, and I think it was Brandon, but I'm not going to put to it. But somebody was specifically saying, for example, we must have somebody from disabilities of some sort, and we must have, and then we've got, we'd love to say someone from every single branch, because we need someone who does media arts, we need someone who does writing, we need someone who does computer